Forgive the rain. It's really rough out there. Welcome to our fourth annual Autistic Self-Advocate Speaker Panel. Thank you. My name is Sophie. I'm this year's president, and this is our fourth annual panel. I don't know how. It's our third time doing it in person. Our first one was on Zoom all the way back in, I think it would have been 2022, but honestly, not even sure if that was before my time. But Autism Advocacy was founded in 2020 as a student-led organization. The pandemic made things a little bit rough with getting started, but in the past few years, we've grown significantly and have been able to do a lot of the things that we first talked about in the earliest documents of the club, which is really great. And one of our big things is this event, which again, is our fourth time having it. Which is really exciting. And every year we aim to try and do things a little bit bigger and a little bit more. And so we had an event this year. We had a health fair earlier this quarter. And it's been really exciting. So I'm really glad that we are doing this again and we made it work with all of the hiccups. So this year's theme is exploring passions and professions with autism. So it's really exciting. We have a lot of exciting speakers with you who all do various professional things in like the professional industry and different careers, which is really cool. And yeah, so they're going to share their experiences with you, and I hope that you enjoy. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge our presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino and Tongva peoples. And additionally, would like to thank UCLA for providing the necessary funding to make the event happen, and we are so glad to announce that we are a green event, so make sure you recycle. And then obviously, there are some people on Zoom, so if you're confused on what's going on up here, so hello Zoom, thank you for joining. And yeah, so without further ado, I would like to welcome our lovely events director, Kaya. Thank you, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kaya. I'm this year's Director of Events for Autism Advocacy, and Sophie and I will both be hosting tonight's panel. I cannot wait to hear from our lovely speakers tonight, and I hope everyone here has a lovely evening with us. Again, thank you for braving the weather tonight to come here. I'm very proud of all of the work our events committee has done to bring you tonight's event, and I will thank them more in depth later, but I did want to acknowledge their hard work and efforts up front throughout these past 2 quarters. I would also like to thank Autism Advocacy's Board of Directors, as well as our amazing President, Sophie, for their help in putting together tonight's event. And now, without further ado, I'm thrilled to commence our 4th annual Autistic Self-Advocate Speaker Panel. Our first speaker tonight is Daniel Jin. Daniel Jin is a special education aide who is also pursuing his teaching credentials to become a special education teacher. He was diagnosed with autism as a toddler, and during his undergraduate years at UCSB, he started a student organization called UCSB Autism Advocacy and Awareness. He's excited to speak about all of the benefits and challenges of working in special education as someone who is neurodivergent. In his free time, he enjoys gaming, reading, hanging out with his friends, listening to audiobooks, and volunteering in the infant toddler nursery at the church he attends. I would now like to welcome Daniel Jin to the podium.
Okay, gotcha. Well, good evening, everyone. Standing up here, I kind of feel like I'm at a pulpit in this room because of stained glass. Kind of feel like a preacher, but that's not what I'm going to be talking about. So I'm Daniel Jin, and the topic of my talk is the benefits and challenges of working in special education as someone autistic. So a bit more about me. My name is Daniel. I'm currently All right, I'm currently a special education aide and a teacher credential candidate for my special education teacher credentials. I was diagnosed with autism as a toddler, and during my undergraduate at the University of California, Santa Barbara, I started a student organization called UCSB Autism Advocacy and Awareness, and this is our logo up there. I started the organization so I could create a safe space where all kinds of students could come together, connect with each other, and learn more about autism. And I started with my best friend, Brian Ho, and we were president and vice president until we graduated. And one of UCLA Autism Advocacy's general members was actually one of my former board members. Shout out to Mansoor Ganesh. He was one of my former community service chairs. And while I was at UCSB, that's when I became interested in becoming a special education teacher because I realized how much my own special education teachers supported me when I was younger. So a bit more about my professional journey since graduating. I graduated in 2024, and since then I've been working as a special education aide for an agency called Zen Educate. They're an agency that staffs special education aides into different classrooms in different schools. And as a special education aide, I've worked with a wide variety of students. I've worked with young adults aged 18 to 22 with special needs. I worked with elementary schoolers with special needs in both self-contained special education classrooms and in the general education classrooms. And I closely supported two 8th grade boys at middle school. Since January of last year, I've been pursuing my special education teacher credentials at Concordia University, Irvine. It's a small liberal arts school in my hometown of Irvine. And I'm going to be a student teacher later this year. I'm very nervous, but also very excited at the same time. So I'll be getting my teacher credentials later this year, and hopefully I find a job as a special education teacher later on. So from my experience as a special education aide, I've noticed that there are definitely benefits of working in special education when you're also neurodivergent, you're autistic. So definitely a major benefit is my own background allows me to understand students with special needs better. So when I was in elementary school, I was in a resource support program, meaning I got pulled out of the classroom a few times each week or each month to receive academic and social support in a different classroom. I also got pulled out for speech therapy and various different assessments and surveys. So I understand the rhythm of school life for a lot of students with special needs. I understand the rhythm of getting pulled out of class for various different reasons and then having to figure out what you missed when you come back and make up for it. And at a deeper level, I understand a lot of the personal struggles or personal challenges that a lot of students with special needs face, such as bullying, distinguishing between real versus fake friends, and just trying to find people who understand you in general. For a more specific example, I've had kids when I was younger pretend to be my friend, and they asked to borrow money from me when they had no intention of giving it back. And when I give them money, they stop talking to me and they never pay me back. So I definitely growing up, I had a tough time distinguishing between real versus fake friends, and that's definitely something I had to learn. So I'm a lot better at that right now, but all my experiences definitely allow me to understand students with special needs better and at a deeper level. And I think that helps me to build like a stronger working relationship with my students. And there's also like, I love being able to talk with other neurodivergent students about what they like. And they're often like very knowledgeable about what they enjoy. They're very passionate about it. Additionally, my own background gives me a very personal motivation for supporting students with special needs. My own special education teacher supported me tremendously when I was younger, and it makes me really want to do the same for other students with special needs. So definitely my background gives me a very personal passion for the field of special ed. It makes me want to give a lot of effort into supporting students with special needs. And there's nothing I love more than being able to really connect with the student with special needs, understand them at a more like at a deeper level than just as a student, and also just figuring out how to best support them in school. So definitely like there are definitely benefits for working in special education when you're also neurodivergent. But at the same time, there are definitely challenges as well with working in special education as someone neurodivergent. So, quick disclaimer before I get into this. I don't put up these challenges here to discourage you in any way if you're neurodivergent. I think this is just good information to know. And both of these challenges are overcomable in their own ways. So, let me get into it now. First, there are a lot of social demands working in education. Because like when you're working in school, you're going to be interacting a lot with a whole bunch of different people, not just students. You're going to be interacting with instructional aides, teachers, front office staff, your higher ups, like your principal and your vice principal. And if you're a teacher, you're going to be interacting a lot with parents. Because you're interacting with so many people while working in the school, that there are definitely a lot of social demands working in education. And let me say this, the social demands of working in education can be tricky for everyone, tricky for neurotypical people as well, but just certain social situations you may encounter may be especially tricky when you're neurodivergent. And I definitely made my fair share of social mistakes while working in the school where I failed to read a room or I said something I shouldn't have. So I definitely made my fair share of social guffaws while working in the school. So I've been there, done that, I understand, but I believe this challenge should definitely be overcome. the more you work in education, the better you will understand the social demands of working in the field. And also, the better you'll get at, the more adept you'll get at navigating different social situations you will encounter while working in school. So this challenge could definitely be overcome with enough time, experience, and patience. And the biggest piece of advice I have regarding this is always be careful what you say while working in the school. And this goes for like any workplace in general. You never know how one of your coworkers may interpret something you say, or you never know how a student may interpret something you say, or even worse, a parent may misunderstand you the wrong way. So always be careful what you say in the school. And when you're interacting with your coworkers, have good social boundaries so you don't accidentally end up saying something you shouldn't have to them. These are lessons I definitely had to learn the tough way a couple of times, so that's why I only give you this piece of advice right now. Like I said, this challenge could definitely be overcome with enough experience. And working in special education, there are also possible sensory challenges. So when you work in special ed, you're more likely to meet students who express what they want through crying, yelling, and screaming. Maybe because they're minimally verbal or they can't express themselves well, they're nonverbal, or they think that's just the best way to get what they want. And that's definitely challenging if you're sensitive to a lot of noises, and that's definitely the case for me. However, like you can always work and teach students like to express their needs in like more socially appropriate ways, like maybe using an AAC device or an iPad to like communicate what they want. And you can also like use a social story to explain like why you shouldn't yell, cry, and scream to get
Not good.
fixed. Yeah, to the extent exactly, it's not good to do. So you can always work and teach those students. And additionally, you can get a lot better at identifying signs of distress, so you can de-escalate a student before they start yelling, crying, or screaming. And if all else fails, you can try to change to maybe a different classroom. Hopefully, it'll work out better in that different classroom. But they're definitely like there are ways to overcome this challenge as well. I just wish somebody gave me the heads up about possible sensory challenges before I started working in special education. I still remember one of my hardest assignments was working in a TK in kindergarten, self-contained special education classrooms. Like the kids in there were adorable, but because they were so young, there was a lot of crying, yelling, and screaming in that classroom. So especially the crying parts.
Not good.
Anyways, I just want to end my talk by explaining some general benefits and challenges of working in education, just like pretty broadly speaking. So definitely a major benefit is the work schedule. You get a lot of school breaks and like days off, like with the like Memorial Day, Veterans Day, you get spring break, summer break, winter break, you know. And if you're a teacher, you can easily divide your pay into 12 times so you get paid during the summer months. Isn't that kind of nice? Like get paid, you're not working, so it's kind of cool. Anyways, another benefit is working in education is great if you enjoy interacting and connecting with kids. You get many opportunities to do so. You can design fun activities for kids, watch them grow not just as students, but as people as well, and just answer questions from their curious minds. I think most people who enjoy working with kids will enjoy working in school because of that. Will find being like working in education a good fit for them because of that. I know that's definitely the case for me. And there are definitely some challenges too. So work-life balance is especially challenging when you're a teacher, especially when you're a newer teacher, because as a teacher, you have to prep materials, design lessons, grade, attend meetings and conferences. And that's definitely going to put a lot on your plate. And if you're a special education teacher, you also have you'll probably have quite a few IEP meetings as well. So definitely work-life balance is challenging for newer teachers. However, the more you work as a teacher, the better you'll get at time management. And so work-life balance is also going to become easier with time. And also the more of a routine you'll settle in for the job. Another challenge is definitely behavior management, learning how to manage a classroom of like 20 to 30 kids, or like some of the public school classrooms are like up to like 35, 40 kids. There's a lot of kids in there. That can be quite challenging. Or even learning how to like get like a small group of kids to stay on task and behave. That's also quite challenging. However, like the more you work in education, the more strategies you will learn for effective behavior management. And you also be able to develop your own style of behavior management that works effectively for you. So this challenge is also overcomable with just enough experience. And the final thing I want to say is like, thank you so much for listening to my talk. If you're interested in working in education, hopefully you found my talk to be useful. And even if you're not interested in working in education, hopefully you found my talk to be insightful. You got some perspective from a working professional who is also autistic. And yeah, feel free to ask me any questions at the end. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, Daniel. That was really, really great. That was super interesting. I know a lot of people are involved in the education field in our class, or in our club. Okay, great. So I would now like to introduce our next speaker, German Cervantes. So, oh, okay, there we go. Okay, so German Cervantes was born on September 20th, 1994, and is from a small town called Dinuba, California. He was diagnosed with autistic at the age of 8 and began receiving treatment at 13 and finding his voice at 14, speaking during 8th grade English class at Washington Intermediate School in Dinuba. He's gone on to speak at many different events across the Central Valley. Not only is German an advocate for the autistic community, but he also works from home, fixing people's computers. That is awesome. I should have you come over. He's also traveled to New York to be part of the audience live with Kelly and Mark, and was recognized by two famous people, Colin Farrell and Kelsey Grammer. Nice. He's made 3 visits to Warner Brothers Studios to attend the Jennifer Hudson show, where he was able to meet Jennifer Hudson. And he's making a 4th visit soon. You should bring me. German is also a part of several nonprofits and has been interviewed by the LA Times. So please welcome German Cervantes.
What happened to Jeffrey? What happened to Jeffrey? What happened to Jeffrey? Oh, what happened to
We have props.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, good evening, the citizens of Los Angeles and UCLA. My name is German Cervantes, and this is my first time speaking here at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA. And it is an honor to speak to each and every one of you. So this right here is the panel I'm speaking for is Professions and Passions, which is self-advocate speaker, technology specialist, video game enthusiast. So this is the beginning of my slideshow, exploring passions and professions at UCLA by me, German Cervantes of Dinuba, California. Here with me as a picture of me at UCLA University campus. So the professions and passions I will be sharing with is me growing up with autism, my early life where I was born and raised, diagnosed and childhood treatment, autism turning diagnosis into advocacy, how I transformed my autism journey into educating others about autism spectrum disorder, community support, helping individuals with autism and disabilities, technology and video games, exploring the role and the impact, the career highlights and messaging to people with autism, encouragement and empowerment. So let us begin. So that right here is me growing up with autism. I was born on September 20th, 1994 in Visalia, California, in a small town, Dinuba, California. And for those who don't know about autism, it is located in the heart of California here, but it is between Fresno and Bakersfield, California. I grew up in a Mexican American household which shaped my life, aspects of my life and values. Growing up in Dinuba as a person with autism came with many challenges and tribulations. I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 8 years old through the California Regional Center within the state of California, and I am branched here in the Central Valley, which is Fresno, Tulare, Bakersfield, Dinuba, Wrigley, Sanger, Selma, etc. At that time, I was very shy, experienced frequent meltdowns, and struggled significantly in school. And my treatment began with ABA therapy, applied behavior analysis therapy, where therapists came to my home to provide therapy sessions at home. And then when I entered high school and junior high school, I started seeing psychologists and psychiatrists continuing the support into adulthood. So today I primarily visit psychiatrists for follow-ups and prescription updates. So turning my diagnosis into advocacy, after being diagnosed with autism at 8 years old, I started treatment at age 13, where I took first steps towards advocacy towards the following year. And at 14, I gave my first presentation about autism to my 8th grade class. And earlier that same year, when I began to introduce the topic of autism during classroom discussions and at recess and lunch recess, classmates would often ask me, German, what's autism? German, what's autism? So I took the opportunity to educate them, and the passion for awareness continued through high school, college, and adulthood, and through opening doors and opportunities I've never imagined. So community support for autism. So the first nonprofit that I joined is called Boarded Busters here in Fresno, California, and it's a nonprofit for people with disabilities. It focuses on life skills, giving back to the community, participating with trips and travels for the individual's choice, supporters, individuals with their personal wants and needs. And then another nonprofit I'm also part of is called Disability Voices United. And participating at Disability Voices United is where I participate in advocacy training, disability rights initiatives, selected for paid public speaking engagements and organizations worldwide, and even interviews as well. So there I have with me is the link to Disability Voices United for speaker German Cervantes. So this is the link. And here is also my Gmail address in case if you need to get a hold of me. So that's how UCLA here got a hold of me, through Disability Voices United. And then I had joined another advocacy program called the Statewide Self-Advocacy Network, SSAN, and I was recruited to join under the State Council of Developmental Disabilities, representing the Sequoias region in California. And then I also do autism awareness funding shirts, autism awareness funding, where I design and sell autism themed t-shirts, and the proceeds that benefit for high school seniors with autism and those impacted with autism. Allow me to show you some designs.
Yes. Yeah, no. Should be closed.
Thank you. And also, I'm going to be talking about is my passion for video games and technology. So my passion for video games and technology started in preschool during the Nintendo 64 era. And one of my favorite video games that I grew up on a daily basis for N64 is called Donkey Kong for the Nintendo 64. And that love for gaming, I grew as I explored consoles through PlayStation and newer Nintendo consoles. And today I still even brought my Nintendo Switch 2 and newer Nintendo consoles. And today I even brought my Nintendo Switch 2 as well, right here. And some of the games I also brought to the panel as well. Something like this. And so some of the video games that I brought is which increases my chances so I can have several famous people sign my physical copies. And then as for video game and design and development and cybersecurity, this passion led me to joining a video game design program called Game Gen, a video game design program for adults with autism funded by the California Regional Center. And this program uses online lessons through Discord, allowing me to communicate with teachers, peers, work on projects, and attend workshops. And this flexibility of the program has helped me learn at my own pace. And beyond gaming, Game Gen is also located here in Los Angeles, but at a place called the Inland Empire. And then beyond gaming, like I said, I've turned my love for technology into a career, which is I work from home fixing people's computers and helping people with their tech needs. So technology and gaming have shaped my life, opening doors and exciting opportunities. And yes, after this presentation, I will also be handing out business flyers as well. And some of these pictures that you see right here, these are from the Nintendo store in San Francisco. So here are some of the career highlights I have with me. Aside from my passions and projects and careers, I've had the opportunity to travel to several amazing places. And some of the pictures that you see on the slideshow is I have traveled and visited to New York, not once, but twice, where I had a memorable experience where here at the Live with Kelly and Mark, where I was recognized by two of the most famous guests they had on their show, and their names are Colin Farrell and Kelsey Grammer. And then, so that's why you see the pictures right here with Superman, Spider-Man, and Mario plushies, and the Live with Kelly and Mark symbol. And this one right here that is giving everybody a high five inside the Live with Kelly and Mark studio. That is Kelsey Grammer from Frasier. And aside from that, I've also traveled to Hawaii. I've also made three visits to Hawaii, three visits to Los Angeles to the Jennifer Hudson show, where not only did I get the chance to attend the show on these pictures that you see right here on the slideshow, I've also gotten the chance to come face to face with Jennifer. I got to talk to her. I even got to hug her really tight, where she didn't want to let go of me at all. So, and aside from that, I've also been interviewed by the Los Angeles Times, where it was an exciting dream come true. And during this interview, I spoke about potential cuts to Medicare and Medi-Cal by Congress. And what is even more special is that my interview with the Los Angeles Times was through via Zoom on my phone while attending a quinceañera in Mexico with my family. And this experience showed me the power of technology on how, or no matter where you are, you can share your voice and spread autism awareness, not just the United States, but from all over the world. So this right here is my message to people with autism. So for people with autism from not just the United States and all over the world, if you are a person with autism, to give you a heads up and a message that you are never alone. You are a human being who deserves understanding, no limits, no labels, and your potential is far greater than any boundary placed on you, or what you can achieve is limitless. And that wraps up my entire presentation. Words of Mickey Mouse says, see you real soon.
Thank you, German, so much for sharing your passions with us. Our next speaker is Jeffrey Diamond. Jeffrey is a non-speaking autistic individual that has done several speeches for Disabled Voices Union campaigns. He's greatly passionate about self-advocacy and the lived experiences of neurodivergent and disabled people. He is also hoping to open an art gallery for disabled artists and is currently getting his bachelor's degree in art history at UCLA. Please welcome Jeffrey Diamond to the podium.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angie. I'm Jeffrey's communication aide, and I'll be presenting his speech that he wrote, and I'm merely going to act as a vessel for the message he wants to convey to you all tonight. Perfect. I am a non-speaking autistic man with ADHD, OCD, and epilepsy. However, these labels of disability do not define me. They simply describe parts of why I am the person I am today.
也有新的乘客消息了。
Explain these disabilities and their impact on me as a Bruin scholar, neurodivergent self-advocate, and art lover. Being non-speaking, I face challenges of verbal impulse control, echolalia, and perceptions of others thinking I am unintelligent. It requires me to intensely focus on my body so I can type to communicate. I feel God is giving me the gift to connect with the world, and I choose to exercise by practicing the creative gift of communication. Choosing to type as a non-speaking person requires accommodations I must advocate for. I face daily challenges feeling my nervous system get dysregulated from overstimulation. Having such a stoic expression, people struggle to understand what I feel inside. Social interactions can be difficult if there are a lot of people, especially if there's a lot of talking at once and or loud music. I'm particularly sensitive to touch, sounds, and visual stimuli. Autism also challenges my proprioceptive abilities, requiring support and practice to connect my mind to my body. What makes my autism unique is how I have an astute ability to notice anything broken, incorrect, inconsistent, incomplete, and not in flow. Whether it is a cracked window, half-open garage, misplayed instrument, my brain acknowledges and I feel the need to correct accordingly so that there may be harmony. Creating harmony in communication is imperative to learning and personal growth. Creativity is the practice of recognizing ideas and using expressive modalities to share our heart and mind. Our communication shapes relationships between the universe and fellow living beings. Being a lifelong learner, creativity and communication defines my experience. My attention to detail is a superpower. Identifying communication inaccuracies and addressing them enables me to interact with the world around me. Yet, autism has often created misconceptions by others about how my brain works. Having ADHD, my brain goes very fast. Ironically, people who don't know me think I'm cognitively slow, but their perceptions deceive them until I communicate. Many may think that the hardest part of my life is being non-speaking, autistic, or having ADHD, but alas, they would be psyched out again. My daily personal struggle is having obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. I find changes in my routines difficult to cope with, so I practice body regulation strategies to help me be accepting of change and open to change being part of life. OCD challenges me to adapt so I can grow. OCD became a strategy for me to cope with the challenges of autism and ADHD, and especially for my epilepsy. Epilepsy forces me to be mindful of maintaining good health and low stress levels so that I don't have seizures. Although I often push my tolerance levels because I love working hard and pushing limits. Disability shaped and continue to co-create the person I am today, here in front of you, expressing through this speech the value of learning from disabilities. The tone of my additional remastered song is the essence of life each time the series starts at. I have used the free will in my song to reach the ears of the people who want to hear. You all took the time to hear, and for that I'm thankful. Hearing good minds through song is a way that everyone hopes for a better tomorrow. Respect reaches right through the mind and into the heart. The art remains great as it did earlier in history. This is the reach that really matters because it is the artistic expression each artist has to the artistic song. I have ears that are easily reachable. I definitely have had to practice though. I would hope that you all would learn to embrace the tune. Love only takes up the tune that you reach with your ears. Keep in mind that you each will listen differently. I think that we become better at listening when we have an open mind and open heart. I thank you for doing so. Oftentimes, if I do not have a communication partner supporting my body dysregulation, or an alternative and augmentative communication or AAC device and communication support, I cannot express the depths of my intellect and who I am. From the outside, people do not see a competent person that can connect with them. However, even though I cannot stare into others' eyes in conversations doesn't mean I'm not listening. I'm able to show otherwise because I have communication support. When I was a young child, I always knew I was different. My family learned what my behaviors and developmental delays meant when I was diagnosed with autism. Once we all had an understanding of what made me different, we sought resources and support from our communities. At first, the diagnosis felt like a death sentence, especially once I was diagnosed as nonverbal. However, we did not let the diagnosis define who I am. I'm fortunate I received family love and support to make that reality true. One of the first realities I was forced to confront in my life was that I would never get to tell the people that I care about how I felt about having them in my life. It has not been easy to be judged at first glance as unintelligent or dumb. I was trapped in my body, and my challenges were misunderstood and not supported properly. Jeffrey Diamond, the person that people see but never learn from. Yet I feel God spoke to me when I learned to type to communicate. Learning is not from your ears, but from your heart. I spent so many years in anger and sadness. I no longer hold these hard, hurt sentiments because I learned that love conquers all. The reason that I am the way that I am is because I was meant to experience the world differently. I wish people did not talk down to us or treat us neurodivergent adults like children unable to understand what they are communicating. We with autism are all unique with different abilities and strengths, whether they have autism or not. If a person is autistic, understand they are perceiving a lot more of the world's stimuli than you. Being open and understanding our brains struggle to process all the information they are feeling. This perspective will help you see the strengths each person with autism embodies. As a non-speaking autistic person, I have been denied access to a quality education. People usually begin presuming I am incompetent and thus incapable. This means that my first goal when I express myself is proving I am competent, capable, and worthy of contributing to society. Yet many in our society presume me unworthy. Because my disabilities require accommodations and communication support, schools have stopped me from doing coursework that could have put me on a quicker college-bound path and even denied me admission. Teachers would presume me incompetent and incapable, and professors have even forced me to withdraw from their course. Transferring into my occupational pursuits, over the past 4 years, I have been rejected from dozens of art museum internships, even after interviewers expressed being impressed by my applications. I have the right and ability to join the workforce and make this world a better place despite the academic barriers I have faced. When I enter any room, especially a classroom, I take opportunities to communicate and connect with my college peers and professors. This is possible because my accommodations are honored. Taking responsibility for the evolution of the collective, I empower my community support. Being direct in my communication, open to the humanness of making mistakes, and compassionately supporting my community, I discovered my purpose. My leadership is a reflection of how I nurture strength in the communities connected to me. Being an honor student, I did not know was possible in my youth. Defying those who denied me access to be a productive contributor to a class or work environment, I earned my associate's degree in art history as an honor student. Through passion for my academics, I consistently proved to myself and others how I am capable of articulating the intellectual depths of my mind and pursuing my life goals. As a very ambitious person, many consider me a hustler, always trying my hardest to do my best. Reflected in this, I'm a straight A college honor student from Santa Monica College to UCLA, working towards my bachelor's degree in art history and plan to continue toward graduate school. I am enchanted by how art connects the artist to the viewer in a way that transcends space and time while igniting our collective consciousness. I'm fascinated by how the stories of our past nurture the profound understanding of our present. Being an art history major combines my two loves while advocating for social change. I especially love learning how we as humans are human. I feel storytelling in its many forms connects us all to each other. I discovered how marginalization occurs when an outsider tells another person's story. I'm ensuring artists' stories remain alive within society. I embody the need to maintain the important focus on diversity and integrating all people to better understand what it means to be human. Human memory is fallible, and the brain forgets the history that led us to the present moment. Museum curatorship and educational efforts allows one to remember history and uphold art's purpose within society. By simply witnessing art, people begin to learn from the feeling art evokes. To engage in this learning, art must be accessible for everyone. By increasing diverse representation, museums increase accessibility for everyone. The cultural status quo becomes challenged when new voices bring to light what barriers block human connection. Art challenges society to evolve. Neurodivergent representation in art curatorship and exhibitions support the development of human understanding and collective consciousness through increased accessibility and visibility. Gaining these insights, my goal is to become an art curator for a museum or public program aiming to showcase artworks from marginalized communities. Supporting the expressions of marginalized communities, especially from neurodivergent people, fills the gap of empathy that occurs between peoples. I am enthusiastic to research the stories behind art, enlivening the impact the artist's piece conveys. As a future contributor to art museum curatorship, my neurodivergence allows me a path to connect us all through the soul. Museums represent how our society can unite individuals with stories and nurture cohesion in the collective consciousness. As a disability advocate within the art community, I represent the value of the full human spectrum and add insight to society's modern narrative. I advocate for art the same way I advocate for myself and other people with disabilities, for social justice and societal healing. Our society is not designed to accommodate neurodiversity. My ability to be a valued citizen and integrated into society is only possible through legislation giving me rights to access to opportunities, my community support, and most significantly, my self-advocacy. I deeply value the compassion and encouragement of my support system because they inspired me to keep reaching new heights that were once considered impossible. I was rendered a tough hand, but I came to be a stronger, kinder person because of it. I love who I'm becoming. Communicating my experiences and perspective enlightens others' worldviews, understanding and support of neurodivergent folks. Treating communication as my art medium, people can relate themselves to our shared humanity. This all makes the tune of my song. I'm reaching to connect my soul to the collective consciousness that your realities also are a part of. Please take my song with you today and remember that yours is just as important for the world to know. I'm so grateful that you are able to listen to my heart with yours. Thank you.
Hi. Oops. Read it. Help me read. One. And introduction. No.
Okay, hold on. Grab this from you so that we
I'm non-speaking.
can.
I read. I turn it on.
It's on.
I help you. One. Jeffrey, will you read it?
Hold on. Can you type so that
Yeah.
you know what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
To read. This one. Introduction.
First.
Yeah. Yes. One introduction. One introduction. I am non speaking of speaking at autism man with ADHD, CAD, and epilepsy. However,
these labels of disabilities and do not define me. It simply describe parts of why I am the person I am today. All me, all me to explain, that this and impact on me as a Berlin scholar, neurodiversion, self-advocate, and art lover.
Art level, this one.
Thank you so much. That's really good. Thank you.
Oh, this one.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you again, Jeffrey. That was really, really great. That was lovely. Thank you so much. Yes, feel free. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to our final speaker before we'll move to our Q&A section. So, yeah, so we have Bella Martinez. So Bella is an actress who's best known for Glory and Injustice, 2020's Advantage, 2019's The Infiltrators. Glory garnered 19 wins on the festival circuit, including a Breakthrough Performance Award from the Downtown Film Festival in LA for Bella. She began acting as a form of therapy to recover from severe bullying in middle school in relation to her autism diagnosis. From there, Bella trained with Gary Spatz and others at the Playground LA Young Actors Conservatory. Bella was inspired to expand to writing, which she noticed that autistic characters are often portrayed in film and television. Of this, she said, all autistic characters were the same stereotype with no real depth to them as a person. There was never an understanding of how we think or see the world or when beneath the surface in a character sense. I want to change that. A jack of all trades, Bella is also a recording artist and recently recorded a theme song for an animated pilot. She also designs merchandise with her brother and sister under the Artsy Tune Company banner. Bella is the great-granddaughter of Mexican film star Jorge Negrete. Please welcome Bella Joy Martinez.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight? Hi, my name is Bella Martinez. You probably knew that already from lovely Sophie. Thank you. And thanks to Kaya, I was found because I made a film called Once More Like Rain Man, which is about an autistic actress in the audition day from hell, making a feature that has her in it, but also combating stereotype and everything that has to offer. Okay,
What is your autism superpower?
Autism superpower?
You know, like Rain Man. So, how'd it go?
One of those have to ask about Reagan. It's not fair.
I'm Jerry's, my daughter.
We're not reading any more girls tonight, and also we're looking for someone a bit more autistic.
She's autistic. What are you here for?
Autistic daughter with love interest, autistic niece with love interest, autistic neighbor, autistic friend. Not a word.
If you could just see her, you know how good she is. There, at the court. Where were you going?
You wait, Jeremy. Movies, commercials, TV. I did everything. The should have a teenage girl like me. A girl who loves nothing. It's up to you to make a picture that has you in it.
Can she do it once more by the Rain Man?
This is about my short film. 50% of the casting crew on my short film were neurodivergent or other disabilities. And that's the end of it. But a lot of our set was at the Palace Theater. It was one location. And this is a lot of the behind the scenes. When it came to Once More Like Rain Man, I wanted to build in accommodations from the get-go. because I saw like on like how some sets where I'm like, wait a minute, this is kind of dumb. Like, why, this is just basic human needs. We can do better, guys. Come on. So a lot of like the stuff that was built in like was like ramps, like so like to get like anyone who has like a wheelchair like over stuff, but it also made wheeling stuff a lot easier. But also like we had a bit of an area, like a sensory area for like people who got overwhelmed or just needed to take a break. And for people that had been acting longer than me, were like, wait a minute, we can take breaks? And I'm like, yeah. You go take a break, buddy. You look like you need one. Sue Ann was our director. This was the last shot of the film. This was her directorial debut. She had never directed before, but she was really excited to, and she acted as one of the casting directors in the first scene as Marie. And she did a stellar job. She was a stellar director as well. I wrote and starred in the film, and she just got it because I knew what I wanted, but I also trusted Celine with the script. And that I took a lot. This was technically my high school senior thesis of wanting to, like after getting like thrown around for 5 high schools in the span of 4 years, kind of lost me for a year. Listen, I did not ask for like a high school experience in the pandemic. I don't think anybody did. But here we are. I mean, like LAC ended up paying for the film, so that was a win for me, especially. It was a lot of ups and maybe some downs, but we ended up getting a final result that we were very much happy with. We ended up filming the film during October of 2023, during the last weekend of the strike. It was basically everyone calling in favors of like, hey, we know you're not doing anything. You want to come in down to like film a cool thing? And a lot of people that had like connections with autism or have autism or different disability themselves came down and were like, yeah, sure. Yeah, like even like people that didn't have it, like just wanted to do it for the cause, like, okay, we're in it for this. It doesn't matter how much we get, just we're in it for like the cause. We're in it for like what this message will bring. It's up to you to make a future that has you in it, and that is a very, very special thing. It was 4 days of shooting. 4 days of shooting. We ended early every day because of the accommodations, and I tend to like hyperfixate and like just get really hyper focused. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't acting and directing. I probably would have been very scrambled. So thank goodness for Suran. Because with her at the director's helm, I trusted her completely with the script, and I'm like, all right, all I need to do is just do the acting. Simple enough. And our editors edited that. Tall, a good friend of mine who's also on the spectrum, edited the trailer you just watched, since we couldn't play the full 15 minutes of the film. Okay. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've used PowerPoint. My co-lead, Matt Jones, was very lovely to work with. We had met at least a couple minutes before the first scene, and this was a behind the scenes of that first shot. And did a lot of ad-libbing and just like goofed around. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, like, oh thank God they have chemistry, thank goodness. It's just that internal struggle of like, is this gonna work? Is this gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Is this going to be okay? And everything turned out just well. When it comes to like how sets are, like it was honestly the most relaxed set I've ever been on. There was no drama, there was no chaos. Well, it was controlled chaos, but it was a chaos that I expected and knew how to deal with. And everyone just like, even if they had wrapped their part up for a day, they just kind of stayed to hang out and just have fun. And that was the greatest part about this set. like everyone made like little jokes and just like had a lot of fun. I think I couldn't have asked for a better crew. My parents were the producers and my siblings helped animate the end credits. I love my siblings very dearly, my older brother, my older sister. As much as, like, yes, we do the typical sibling things, that's just amplified, especially with us. But I do love them dearly, even if they get on my nerves, especially when they get on my nerves. Anyone who has siblings in the room, I know you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We have like older siblings. Goodness, I'm a little nervous. And when it came to like how doing some of the shots, especially like walking shots or just like other shots on the film, it was definitely a lot of like kind of minor changes or some stuff that we couldn't fully keep in, but like it was really a fun process of just having a lot of fun. And like, yeah, like we technically got the Palace Theater for free. Oh, I'm just tripping over my words right there. Palace Theater was technically for free because like we left it better than we found it. And like we knew the guys because my parents are also location managers for theater locations. It's very useful when you know a bunch of people, especially the people that can go into a room and basically gather them around like it's at a tea party or something. Very casual. It looks easy on paper. It's not easy when you're applying it to real human skills. And a lot of the costuming was done by our customer Mika. Hi Mika. And we technically rated a lot of the props from both my house and my personal wardrobe. I like just laid out my whole wardrobe. A lot of the outfits that you see in the film are actually some of my own props that like my cosplay props, like the boots that you see there. Those are painted by me. I painted those. I customized them with the help of my mom. Hi mom. She's over there. And this. I will blame exactly whose idea was this because it was just too good. Everyone laughs at this scene. I am pointing at him in the audience right there. Hi, Dad! Menace, my dork of a father. But yeah, those shoes, they actually hurt. Matt was just like, I made sure Matt was okay after I kicked him in the shins because that's what happens in this scene. And I'm like, oh, are you okay? And he was, he's like, yeah. And when I walked away, he's like, just turned to my mom, like, what sadist made the soles of those shoes? I'm pretty sure the person that made them was the sadist. I don't know. But as reward for doing the scene, I made my dork of a father wear the costume. And saying it was a success. I mean, I also got to throw it down the stairwell, but not too far because those stairs in the Palace Theater, they're very clunky. I wouldn't recommend. I think Suan was very scared of the elevator because it had to be manually operated. You couldn't just press the button and go up and down. No. You needed somebody in the elevator with you to put stuff up and down and make sure you got to the floor that you wanted to. That was both a very fun and terrifying experience, but still the stairs were not preferable. Oh, look, there's Mel. A lot of the reason I wanted to include this being an autistic actress is because when have you ever seen, like, raise a hand, has anyone seen like an autistic actress in like film or TV or like anything? Yeah, I expected this response because that is a huge no. Because a lot of what I've seen in auditions, because like for some reason, when it comes to autistic actors, we still get called for the same parts. Towel is like older than me. She's like, I'm in my 30s. I have wrinkles. Stop calling me for high schoolers. Like, stop calling me for high school parts. I'm older. Please call me for something else. Please, I beg you. it's just, I'm like, why is that the case? I know a lot of people are misinformed, and as a writer, someone who like was bullied and just dived into like stories head first, like whether that be for like movies, TV, video games, or any form of media, just or even like written books. Like when it comes to that, people care about what they see, and that's actually why I named the title that way I did. It's an homage to the thing that got everything started to begin with. Because Rain Man was the first time people actually saw and cared and thought, hey, maybe there could be more to this. You know? Like, just way much more. And that's why I wanted Zoe, the character that I play, to be an autistic actress and show that side. It might be a little, it is like, it's a comedy. It's not a drama. It's a comedy. It makes you laugh, makes you tugs at your heartstrings. It just makes you feel, takes you for the journey. And that's what stories need right now. If you try to shove something in someone's face as a statement, they're not going to care. If you take their hand and show them a journey instead, they will care because people care about what they see. And when people care about what they see, they do something more about it. And I cared about making stories that had characters that people could relate to. And I've always, like, I've been pulled aside at like multiple film festivals with people saying, that's me. That's me right there. This character's just like me. I'm resisting the urge to make a joke because she's just like me for real. And it's not just me that gets stereotyped. Matt Jones, like if you recognize him from like Breaking Bad or like Sosa Bacon in this lovely photo, Matt never got to play a good dad. He was very excited. He was like very happy about playing a good dad. He's like, I didn't get shot, I didn't get killed, I didn't deal with drugs. But I got to play a good dad. And so she was very happy about playing a mean girl. She's like, I've never gotten to play the mean girl before. I never got to play a bitch. And she was very happy. She got her own theme and she was very ecstatic about that. So it's not just people on the autism spectrum getting stereotyped. It's like just like stereotyping like when it comes to like certain categories of actors as well, especially actors that have been in this business longer than me. And I'm like, huh, that is a very, very insightful thing. But for me, that's just like how everything came together. It's just kind of how it came together. And this is towards the end of the film with that final shot that you can see how huge the theater is. This is like only a fourth of it. Like the theater is like way bigger than this room. Like I think this like room is only like a fourth of like how big the Palace Theater actually is. And it would be considered small, which is insane to me somehow still. But this shot is still the best part of this film because if I had to be honest, it kind of drives home of like I guess like I'm an artist. I just know an iconic shot when I see one, especially like just that sense of being an artist and just like having like just seeing stuff visually. Because when I used to write or like read, my eyes used to do a thing where like I would read something and somehow my brain would just skip to the bottom and I'm like, what? No, I wasn't finished reading the first part. What do you mean? But when it comes to this part, I wanted everyone to feel the struggle of being understood and having that sense of feeling like you don't know what you're doing or like you don't belong or just don't really know what you're doing. But having someone that understands you. Oh. This was made by my brother. But the reason why I put this here is because my siblings mean a lot. they helped bring this film to life too, and everyone has a place in this film. And everyone has a place in what makes this special. But we're gonna continue doing that because we do have a feature in the works. A little sneak peek of that. And this was made by my dad, the dork in the audience. I blame him. If you want to blame anyone for that poster, it is him, not me. So I tried keeping on topic as best as I can. I was just a bit nervous to get the better of you, especially when you're talking passionately in front of an audience. I think that's the beauty of autism, even if I lose track. Because it's up to you to make a future that has you in it. And if you don't, then, well, or you can't really go anywhere from there. But you can only go up. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And the beauty of storytelling is my place of sharing my experience through my eyes. So thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Bella, for sharing your art with us. With that, we've concluded our 4 speakers' presentations. So we are now going to move on into our Q&A section. We will have a few microphones going around the room if you would like to ask the speakers any questions. But if you have any questions you would like to ask anonymously, we also have a QR code on screen where you can submit questions. Also, for those attending virtually, you can feel free to ask questions in the Zoom chat as well. So several different methods of asking questions. Does anyone from the audience have any questions? Good.
This is kind of a question for everyone, but you guys do a lot of speaking for community or experience. What's a question you wish that people would ask you more that they never ask you?
This is the second time I've actually been asked that question. I got the Uno reverse card once. Me and my sister do like interviews with voice actors a lot, so I've asked that question to them before, but I've only gotten that question asked me once, so twice. I'm gonna let my other students go first, because I'd be up enough.
So what was the,
It's a question that you've never been asked before, but I've always wanted to be asked.
that's a confusing question right there.
Like, what have you been asked before, like on a panel?
That's a good one.
But I've always wanted to answer the question, but no one's ever had like the guts to ask.
That one, when it comes, the number one question that people would ask me is, when it comes to public speaking, have you ever gone through mental blocks before? That's one of the rarest questions people have asked me.
Well, what's the answer?
I was like, yes, and the question that people have never asked me, when I go through mental blocks, it'd be like, yes, I've gone through mental blocks, but not in public, but not in public speaking, but more like in the private level.
Ah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I wish the question that people ask me more often, like no one has ever asked me this question, but it is something that I like to share with people. So that's why I wish people ask me this question, but I wish people were like, they would ask me, what is the perspective of someone who is autistic, but also very social and outgoing? It's like, for me, like when I was an undergraduate, I had a lot of friends. I still talk to people a lot. I'm very social, very outgoing. Like I regularly attend church activities or just like community events, like, and because like I'm very outgoing, very extroverted, like very few people think that I'm autistic because like in their minds they think all autistic people like, oh, they're introverted, they don't want to talk to people, you know, like it doesn't click that like people with autism can like want to socialize and they want to make connections and like go to events. So like I wish people would ask me that more often because like I remember Jeffrey's speech, I really like how he brought up that like a lot of autistic people are kind of treated like children. For me, oh, sorry. For me, I kind of have like the opposite experience because like I talk so much, I'm very extroverted, like people put like a very high standard on me that like I'm not able to reach sometimes, because like sometimes I genuinely don't understand how to act in a certain social situation, or I genuinely just like misread the room. I said the wrong thing, but like when I make social mistakes, then I get punished for it like pretty severely sometimes, and people like it very much backfires in my face, and people like get very disappointed or very angry at me. But like they expect me to know the social cue when sometimes like I generally don't know. Like even though I like talk to people a lot, dude, sometimes I generally just like I don't know what to say, or like
Yeah.
I said the wrong thing by accident. But like you just like people often forget that I'm disabled, and they don't give me the grace when I do make social mistakes, is the point I'm trying to get at. But like I wish they did. Like sometimes I just generally did make a mistake, you know?
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
What's a question that you've never been asked before?
Wish. Thank you. I wish more people asked me about art because I feel so much, but most are quite impatient to learn from our immense intelligence.
Well, I'm an artist. I'll ask you about art. What's your favorite artist?
Drawing. Coloring.
I'm speaking automatics. I'm sorry,
It's okay.
but my favorite is not possible. It is about the emotion,
That makes sense.
but I must say I'm moved by your art too,
Oh, thank you.
because it is showing our shared story, and our story is the human experience that connects us all.
Thank you, Jeffrey. That's quite lovely. You're a beautiful writer. Must say, your speakers are all very intricate.
And then I think we have time for a couple more questions.
Is there a question? Oh, no one's ever asked me my favorite video game.
Sorry to cut you off, Bella. Did you want to answer?
No one's asked me my favorite video game.
What's your favorite video game?
My favorite video game is A Hat in Time and Cuphead.
No,
But I also like playing Shadow Generations with my dad.
Kind of for all of you, because all of you are actually artists.
Yeah.
Including Danny, you're an artist, you're going to be inspiring the next generation as a teacher. But how difficult is it sometimes when you're dealing with neurotypical, where they underestimate you?
Neuros.
Yeah, neuros, I asked whether it was neurotypical or neurotic, and she's
Yes.
like, yes. So, because I'm sure sometimes you guys are looking at the rest of us like, don't you get it? And especially when they talk to you like you're stupid, or they underestimate you, or just because you don't communicate in a way that necessarily a neurotypical person understands, that they make really ignorant assumptions. Which is why Bella did the film, was it's always the same questions. You don't look autistic, you don't present the way that they think that you should. And it's a spectrum, and it's only part of you, not who you are. So, I mean, how difficult is that for you at times to help people make that leap? And I'm going to go to Jeffrey's museum when he's like managing the Smithsonian or the Met, because that's gonna be pretty awesome.
Thanks. Okay, who wants to answer first? Well, I guess I can answer first. Okay. Definitely difficult sometimes, because sometimes I look at like neurotypical people when they ask them the questions, I'm like, would you ask this to a normal person? Like, huh? Like, what do you mean, like, I don't look autistic or sound autistic? I'm sorry, besties, there's supposed to be a certain way that I'm supposed to sound. Is there a certain way that certain people, types of cultures are supposed to sound? Because I don't think that's the case, really. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's that question. I always take questions in earnest, because usually they're misinformed and they don't really know. So it kind of, I always just treat it like an actual question, because how else are you gonna learn? I mean, a lot of neurotypical people can be quite insane. Sometimes I just see the insane antics and they think I'm the crazy one. Why am I the crazy one? I might be a chaotic gremlin, but like, damn, but that coming from me. That's the chaos. They feel more chaos than me, if I had to be honest. And we're cool, and we're pretty funny. And we're awesome. We got a sense of humor.
Daniel, Jim, and Jeffrey, any thoughts?
for what questions?
How neurotypical individuals might underestimate you sometimes, and how you deal with that, or whether you find it frustrating.
For me, a lot of people, pretty much have said this over and over again these past years, from my childhood, teenage years, and even adult years. They often said in front of me or behind my back that I don't look autistic, that I look normal. And then another, and then another thing, and another, the biggest thing that that people often is they not only do they say that I do not look autistic, they say, a lot of people in my town often say I look really young. That's the most common thing, that I look like I look like in my early 20s, or I look like I'm 14. And honestly, my real age is I'm 31 years old, so.
I assumed like a mid-20s, actually.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah,
I assumed.
yeah,
I was not mistaken for younger, so that works for me in acting.
yeah, I normally call it aging like fine wine.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much, and the fact that I was treated normal back in my hometown, back in Dinuba and stuff like that. Yeah, because I,
So,
yeah, because autism was like, was often misunderstood in the nineties and early 2000s, and me growing up in the early 2000s, a lot of people think that me playing by myself was considered normal or being independent and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, my family had ABA police, and
Yeah.
little we decided I wanted nothing to do with it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I can look autistic and I defy their poor misconceptions.
Okay.
I'm also a man with gray hair in my 20s. So I am deceiving others as a young person, especially because I can talk like an old man.
Well, your writing is like fine wine. I'll say. What about you, Daniel?
Okay, so I have a very interesting perspective on this.
Okay.
Like you said, I'm very social, and people have also told me that I'm pretty handsome as well. So I guess like people don't really like me, like people think that I'm autistic is like far from the first thing that they think when they're talking to me, just like in an everyday context. So what I've noticed ends up happening to me a lot is I kind of get punished for acting autistic, or like people get frustrated at me when I do act autistic or present autism-like symptoms
Which
or
is
I
dumb.
guess the social cue.
Which is really dumb.
Yeah, like I once like when you're in education, like most teachers I think you work with would be pretty nice, but I once worked with a pretty toxic teacher. Well, one day she exploded at me because I missed a couple social cues from students, or I didn't pick up on their nonverbal body language. Like it's just kind of like being autistic. Sometimes you miss social cues, or like everyone misses social cues. But I even explained to that teacher well beforehand that I'm autistic, but she still like went off on me for making those like mistakes. So on that, I'm not working in our classroom. I quit like 2 days afterwards, but I've actually had to deal with more of the opposite problem. People like forgetting that I'm disabled and enforcing like rules that I can't always get up to
Yeah.
the standard of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my goodness, I would like you like in like the like a special way, like in the middle school that I was in. That would be so useful.
I definitely am.
Oh, goodness, but like, damn. That teacher sounds like she was horrible.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I'm in her class.
Like a nightmare. Like I would not imagine the students being happy with her, like cheese and crackers, that's just like, that's like a whole villain origin story right there. I would not blame someone if that teacher was the villain origin story, not gonna lie.
Yeah, so funny thing, she had cereal boxes all around her classroom, so now I can't look at cereal the same way I heard that. Like this morning, I was in Albertsons and I accidentally passed the cereal aisle. Like, I was only in her classroom 5 weeks, but those 5 weeks felt like 3 years to me, so. I still sometimes can't believe it was only 5 weeks, I didn't age like 5 years, you know?
At least you survived, thank goodness.
Yeah, but I can't enjoy cereal for a little while. Yeah.
Don't worry, it'll wear off, maybe in 2 years.
I mean, a cereal allergy is better than staying in that classroom long term, so it's fine.
True. You know what? Sometimes the side effect is worth it. If you're out of there, you're out of there. Sometimes having a cereal allergy afterwards is minor person.
It's a minor price to pay, you know?
Yeah, like you do, like you do. Anyone got any more questions?
I hate to cut us off there, but I do think we might have to end the Q&A just because it is getting towards 7:30 and I want to have time to conclude and give out some gifts. But thank you so much for your insightful answers to those questions. Since that was the last question for tonight, thank you for joining us today for our Self-Advocate Speaker Panel event. This wouldn't have turned out as a successful event if it weren't for your presence, both in person and virtual. I would next like to quickly do some acknowledgements. So I would like to thank my events committee members. So those members would be Janelle, Annika, Lucia F, Lucia O, Angie, and Amy, who have been working on putting this event together since the beginning of the story. From reaching out to the speakers to advertising for the event, they have been integral to this event's success, and I couldn't be more grateful for them. And now I would like to present a few gifts to each of our speakers. So if I could have you all stand in front of the table here.
Okay, so could I get Montu, Kaya, Angie, and I think Lucia? I'm not positive, Lucia, their names are spelled the same. To come up here and deliver some of our gifts.
Gifts?
While they're doing that, by the way, guys, like Kaya has done so much, you don't even understand. Like I working around the clock on so much, exactly, did amazing. Funding has been really hard this year with all of the cuts last year, as we know. And Kaya has worked really hard as well as our finance director, Benvi, who's also worked really, really hard. We have a side group chat that is active, constantly dealing with this. And again, like really special shout out to Kaya, please. Like it's truly worked so hard. I don't even know how Kaya handled everything. I really don't. It was really hard. But anyways, okay, back to the presentation of gifts.
So these are just a few tokens of our appreciation. Thank you so much to our speakers again for coming out tonight and sharing your experiences. Your willingness to share your experiences, insights, and stories is truly inspiring. Your voices not only educate, but also empower everyone in this room, and we are deeply grateful for the time and energy you've dedicated to being here tonight. If we could have another round of applause for them.
Yeah, we used to have catering, but part of our funding problems is that there is no catering. So instead, just feel free to enjoy some time. You can talk to each other, talk to the speakers, ask some questions you might have had during it, and I will also make everyone in the club take a group picture. It's gonna be fun. And thank you. Woo!
Oh, round of applause for my Sophie and Kaya because they did amazing.
Okay, thank you all.
Yay!
Hey, your speech is